During World War I, the concept of infantry guns emerged, and various countries began to develop this new type of artillery for pulling out enemy machine gun and other firepower points. As a long-standing great power, France naturally would not fall behind in this regard, taking the lead in producing the M1916 37mm infantry gun. After the end of World War I, the Schneider Company continued to work hard and developed the M1928 75mm infantry gun, which was considered the best model of infantry gun. By the 1920s, the concept of infantry guns had been recognized worldwide, but the development of various countries had exceeded the range of 37mm, mainly focusing on 75mm, although Japan also developed the Type 92 70mm infantry gun shortly afterwards. The characteristics of these artillery pieces are increased range, generally reaching over 3,000 meters, allowing for safe shooting beyond the range of heavy machine guns. Secondly, the power is increased by increasing the caliber and propellant charge, giving the shells greater destructive power. Lastly, the accuracy of the firing, taking the Type 11 37mm infantry gun copied by Japan as an example, at a range of about 600 meters, the hit rate is only 30%. Therefore, new infantry guns need a more stable trajectory to eliminate the target in the first 2 rounds of firing. Furthermore, the Schneider Company of France incorporated the concept of anti-tank into its forward-looking thinking. At that time, anti-tank warfare was already a compulsory subject for the military, and anti-tank guns were necessary weapons, but equipping a unit with mortars, mountain guns, field guns, anti-tank guns, infantry guns, etc., not only increased military spending, but also added to logistical difficulties. Therefore, the Schneider Company proposed the idea of combining infantry guns and anti-tank guns into one. The Schneider M1928 infantry gun had a caliber of 75mm, a barrel length of only 9.4 times the diameter, and a length of only 710mm, shorter than the Type 92 gun. Nevertheless, by changing the propellant charge, the designers greatly increased the range. When fired with the lowest propellant charge, the muzzle velocity was only 175 meters per second, with a maximum range of only 2,560 meters, similar to the Type 92, but when using a strong propellant charge, the muzzle velocity increased to 300 meters per second, and the maximum range increased to 6,000 meters, making it the best among infantry guns, especially considering its short barrel length. The fired shell weighs 4.5 kilograms, with 1.05 kilograms of TNT inside, resulting in considerable explosive power, and the breech is an interrupted screw structure. The artillery has an elevation range of -10 degrees 60 degrees and a horizontal range of 4 degrees on each side. To have anti-tank capabilities, the designers went to great lengths. It was clearly inappropriate to use the original 710mm long barrel, as the shell could not accumulate enough kinetic energy to penetrate tank armor. Therefore, the designers incorporated the concept of interchangeable gun barrels, allowing the artillery to achieve anti-tank combat capability by quickly changing the barrel. The dedicated anti-tank barrel had a caliber of 47mm and a barrel length 24.7 times the diameter, with a very rare muzzle brake at the muzzle, and a muzzle velocity of 600 meters per second when firing armor-piercing shells, only enough to deal with light armor. The main reason for this was that the breech structure could not withstand high chamber pressure, the gun mount could not withstand the enormous recoil, and the barrel length was still not long enough, so the muzzle velocity did not meet the standard. Since the kinetic energy armor-piercing shells were unreliable, the designers simply abandoned them and switched to the newly introduced armor-piercing shells, which allowed the gun to reliably penetrate most of the tanks in service at the time at normal combat distances, except for a few heavy tanks. Another highlight of the M1928 is its mobility. In addition to being manually and animal-drawn, it can also be disassembled into 12 large components for transport. Unlike other infantry guns, the M1928 weighs only 345 kilograms, and after disassembly into 12 large components, each individual part weighs only about 30 kilograms, lighter than the claimed lightest Type 92. The individual carrying weight for the Type 92 reached about 45 kilograms, a significant burden for the smaller Japanese soldiers. Schneider also specifically designed a carrying harness to allow for more comfortable carrying, with a total weight of no more than 40 kilograms. Although the Schneider company was very satisfied with the M1928 infantry gun, and its performance was indeed outstanding among infantry guns, the French army was not impressed after seeing such a weapon. The main reason is that France was single-mindedly building the Maginot Line at the time, and infantry guns are used to break through the enemy's defense during an attack, which is inconsistent with the French army's defensive thinking. Secondly, the French army had a large number of M1897 75mm guns, as well as the M1916 infantry gun from World War I. The French army believed that they were enough to defend the line and were unwilling to spend money on the M1928. Seeing no hope for domestic sales, Schneider had no choice but to actively promote the gun abroad. In the early 1930s, it made a strong showing in China. At that time, the Chinese army was mainly manpower-based and was initially interested, but later, considering that the artillery could not be produced in China, was not as powerful as the 75mm mountain gun, and was hindered by German advisors, it all came to nothing.